What is up, everybody? Hello. Welcome to the video. It is I, Over Expert, and today we're going to be doing us a little tier list because it's the end of the year. And for Global's time scaling, we already have our last unit of the year because we're not going to get the festival until early January due to how JP and Global work in tandem. So, our 2023 is over. Our last unit is here. And yeah, I get it. I haven't made a video, but I'll get to it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be ranking every unit that came out in 2023 for 7 Deadly Sins Grandcross in a pretty much broad standard, not just a specific game mode, just the unit on their own and their usage in the game. And yes, I mean, it's a team-based game, so obviously I will be talking about like the best teams and if they're good or not. But that's like a side note, if anything. But yeah, today we're going to be doing that, and just to break it down for y'all at home, how we're going to make this criteria work, we have God tier, S, A, B, C, and then useless, because at that point, anything below C tier, yeah, we already know it's not going to be useful in the game. It's just a fodder unit that's probably never going to see the light of day. But what we're going to do here is go off of their kits, obviously, their passive, their synergy, and their teams. That's pretty much those criteria right there for each unit that I'm going to go through when I do this. And we'll see exactly how this goes down. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. As you can see, we have our contendants on the screen. I know I'm on mobile. It's rough. It could look better. But this is more or less a talking piece than a video piece anyway. So we're chilling. But yeah, we have our contestants at the bottom. We have them all here. And we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So let's not waste any more time. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below how y'all feel about my placement of these units. Because this is me being very unbiased. I'm not gonna go like, oh, this is a meta unit. Like, if the unit was good, the unit's good. But if the unit was meta at one point and it's not meta anymore, then that's not the point of the tier list. The tier list is to determine if the unit itself is good, not if it's good at this time, if that makes any sense. So yeah, let's go ahead and get going.
So to start us off with today's video, we're going to have ourselves a Purgatory Meliodas. Because, again, this is a global time scale. So yeah, on JP,
This came out the end of December of 2022, but for us global players, he came out January 3rd or 4th of 2023. So yes, that's how this is going to work, and I'm counting him as a 2023 unit because I don't play JP. And that's the same with why I'm doing this before the end of year festival, because global is not going to get the end of year festival until January 1st. Now, with that being said, Purgatory Meliodas, he's goated. He doesn't even matter about time scaling or anything like that. This man is genuinely a powerhouse character. His kit is very well synergized with a very beautiful passive that gives him 50% attack, 2 very strong cards, 1 single target and 1 AoE, both with their own unique effects, and his ultimate is a sure kill win. So he is a pretty top tier fucking unit, let's be real. So it's going to be pretty safe to say that he is a god tier unit easily. And like, if not god tier, S, in a high S, low god tier, if that's the case. But I'm gonna put him in god tier for now, and we'll see how he stacks up once the chart gets a little bit more filled up. So right now, god tier. Blue New Year's Mono, which is technically the first unit of the year. She kinda doesn't have a place in the game, I'm gonna be completely honest. Her kit is solid, like it's okay. She has a weak point AoE and a cleanse that gives her more crit chance and crit damage on the higher tiers of ranking. Her ultimate is always pretty good. A secret technique AoE, that's always going to be really good regardless of where you are. And her passive is not the best because she wants to be on a catastrophe team, and the catastrophe team isn't really doing much in the PvP meta, nor is it doing much in any like PvE activity. So like, honestly, this character doesn't have a use in the game. And if you can like have fun with her, sure, like you can probably get some squeaky wins out, but like for the long term of things, she's borderline useless. So yeah, she's gonna end up being the first unit I put in useless tier. She doesn't have a use, let's be real. Now we have Red Freya and Green Summer Freya. We're gonna rank them both at the same time because they're pretty much the same character when it comes down to their use in the game. So like, starting off with Red Freya, pretty decent in PvP. She is a strong unit, don't get me wrong. Her damage is really good up there, especially if she crits on her single target. But like, you don't see this Freya in PvP a lot because Summer Freya exists, for one, and for two, the Ragnarok team really doesn't center around Freya anymore. If you know, you know. But for the most part, she is a good unit. Don't get me wrong. She's really strong. And she's also a staple in the Needhog, which is the hardest activity in the game. But she doesn't have true purpose outside of Needhogger. But I guess that gives her points because it's pretty hard content to do, especially if you don't have her with her Holy Relic. And then on the other end of the spectrum, Summer Freya, she is a more PvP friendly Freya. She is the more PvP friendly Freya. And I would take her over the red one any day. But in terms of her kit, it could be better. It's fun, don't get me wrong. She has like really good damage reduction for the high CC character on the enemy team and all that good stuff, but like, it's not a fun kit to play with, in my opinion. She's just very boring compared to Red Freya. So in my humble opinion, I would put Red Freya over Green Freya, but I don't know if I would put them in the same tier. Because, I mean, they both shine in different areas, like, equally well. And you can genuinely use both of them for each side, because, yeah, that's just how it works. So I guess I could put both of them in A tier. But, yeah, I could put both of them in A tier. I will still put Red Freya over Green Freya if you want my tier list to be in order in each category. Yeah, I would put Red in front of Green. Moving on, we now have Green Valentine Small Wing King. This man is a demon. I'm going to be honest. I enjoy him as a character. He has a very, very fun kit. And if you ever seen my video on him when he first dropped, oh, that was beautiful. He was definitely one of those characters I didn't expect to do well, but he was actually super strong. But the still is the fact of the matter is he doesn't have a place in PvP. No one's going to run him in PvP. And in PvE content, he's useless. He relies on debuffs, and 99% of PvE content are debuff immune. So in genuine retrospect, he's kind of bad, but his kit's still decent. It's just he doesn't have a place in the game. So in terms of a tier list, I would probably put him in C, because he's not as useless as Mono at the very end of the day, because Valentine King can still pull off some PvP wins. On top of that, he can pull off more PvP wins than Blue Mono can in today's meta. So I'm going to give him the C tier treatment. I think that's fair. And now we have our first official festival of 2023, Mael of Sunshine. This man is a demon. He is extremely powerful. Well, some would say he kind of fell off, but that's due to his team just not being super strong. But as it ends in the end of the year, he has LR Margaret, he has a new Elizabeth, he has the support slot Ellate or Tristan. The goddess team is looking really powerful right now, and I'm just saying it's probably just because of Elizabeth. But Mael's kind of cracked right now in the terms of the game, and of course he's also a staple for the hardest content in the game, being Needhogger. So that gives him pretty good stepping stones for where I want to put him on the tier list. So it's truly safe to say that I'm not going to put him in God tier because of a certain issue with him specifically, being that he relies on a team. He cannot do anything by himself. The moment a goddess unit on his team dies, his team kind of fails at being a team. Especially if you have Tristan in the back, because Tristan isn't a goddess unit, because, yeah, reasons. So I can give him S tier. I couldn't give him God tier because in a 1v1 scenario, I truly believe Purgatory Meliodas can kill Mael in a 1v1 scenario. So yeah, I can give him S tier and say that's that. Now we go on to Green Ludociel, one of the most disappointing characters in the game. I still say he is underrated. If y'all ever seen that video I made of him being underrated, or why I think he's underrated, go check that out. Top 5 most underrated units in Grandcross. But Green Ludociel, as of the end of the year, useless. He has no purpose. We have LR Margaret, which means he's not even in the fucking goddess team. He's not good for Needhogger, which he was at one point. But at this point, no, he's useless. That's all you can say about this dude. So yeah, sorry Vader, he's useless. That man has no purpose in the game whatsoever. Moving on, we have Red Megellda, the newest Megellda of the game. I love Megellda. That's just an off-topic statement. I like Megellda. She's probably my favorite Ragnarok character as a whole, because why the fuck not? But gotta make do with what we got, right? She's not the best unit ever. Don't get me wrong. As a free-to-play player, She's a very strong option for things like floor 1 and 2 of Needhog. If you don't have the Goddess team with Freya Relic built out, she is a beautiful exception to that rule, because you can run a very free-to-play friendly team if you have Red Megellda for those first 2 floors, and you can clear it with relative ease. So in terms of her being able to clear the hardest content in the game, she can do that. You can even be floor 3 if you get real lucky and you build her out well. She can do that. But in terms of her kit, she has a solid passive. She got the HP related stats. She gets to heal. It works in all demonic beast battles. It's cool. Her card deplete ult gauge is pretty helpful sometimes. Her buff is kind of irrelevant, and for the most part, when you get into rank 2 and 3 with the whole amplify or solidify buffs, it's kind of useless on some things. But I think she shines most in Skull and Hottie, and I still believe that Red Megellda is a staple unit for Skull and Hottie, and that's about it. So at the very least, she has a use. But even with her use case, I would still say she's not that strong, even with her being a staple unit for Skull and Hottie. She's mainly getting carried, and her buffs are pretty much carrying the team with the heals, and her passive is also carrying with the free ult gauge that she can give on top of Red Thonar. So I would probably give her A tier. I think A tier is a perfect place for her, right behind the Freyas, because they're all pretty much doing that same staple role for demonic beast battles. So yeah, I can give her A tier. Moving on to someone a little bit more fun, we have ourselves Red and Blue Roxy. Red Roxy being the Christmas Roxy that just came out this week, and Blue being the fucking staple Roxy. We're gonna talk about them real quick, because why the hell not? Double standard rule around. What am I talking about? Let's talk about Blue Roxy first. Broken, God tier, beautiful character in every way. She makes every single human in the game valid, and it's just facts. Unless they can't crit. If they can't crit, that's a different story. But Blue Roxy, broken. We all know what she does. She's been around for a while. Nuts. But when we talk about the new Roxy, she's good. She's very solid. I'll give you that. She has a better passive than Halloween Easton. It's literally Halloween Easton, but a step above. She gives out 1. This new Roxy depletes 2. Easton gives base stats to humans only. She gives 20% HP to all allies. So I would honestly say she's a level up from Halloween Easton in a certain extent, but 20% HP, Reinhardt, Purgatory Bond, any human team that scales off of HP, she pretty much resurrected them, unironically, especially like the Reinhardt, Green Arthur, Roxy, Twigo team. 65% is crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much what she does. In terms of her damage, it's good. She has a Power Strike card, so she can do damage if you decide to build her with attack crit or something like that. But she is a support character at the end of the day, and I did give her HP defense personally that I'm still building. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm giving Blue Roxy God tier. She is easily the strongest human in the game. The only reason LRS Core works, if you want to be honest, in my personal opinion. But the Red Roxy, the newest character of the game so far, I'm gonna honestly probably give her B tier. Because, yeah, she's a good support, but I don't think she's going to be a staple for anyone's team. Nor do I think people are going to unironically start running her for longer than this week that she's out, because she's the new unit. After this week is done, you're probably never going to see this character in PvP again. But at the same time, I would put her higher than King, because at least she has a genuine use being a sub-slot character. And we don't get a lot of those that are universal like she is. So, I think this is fine. Now with the new Elizabeths. We had 2 Elizabeths this year. Red Goddess Elizabeth. She came out during springtime of some sort, because she's a spring unit. And then the newest Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth. The difference in these 2 characters are crazy as hell. But let's go ahead and run through them real fast, right? Red Elizabeth. She's fine. She's okay. Like, she increases base stats, and it doesn't work in 90% of the content in the game. She's useless, okay? No one's gonna ever run her. You will never see her in content ever again. She's useless as fuck, unless you get like a very weird event boss battle. Not a boss battle. Event Tower of Trials. Other than that, completely and utterly trash. It is what it is. But the new Elizabeth on the... Bruh. This character snapped on like multiple levels. It's not even fair how broken she is. I don't gotta say anything else. We know what she does. So like, they easily get their places. Red Elizabeth, useless. I would probably say she has more use than both Ludociel and Mono, though, at the very least. And then New Elizabeth, most broken character in the game. She gets to the top of the board. I might put Roxy in front of her. No, Melly gets in front of Roxy. I think that's fine. I think this is a fine one. Yeah, easy. Like, there's no competition. She's the best character in the game. Until this next festival. Now we get to our very first collab of the year, Mushoku Tensei. Love the anime, by the way. It's pretty solid. I haven't read the manga, but I have friends that read the manga, and they say it's really fucking good. But, regardless, talking about these characters, we're going to do this a little bit faster because there's 4 characters we need to talk about. I'm going to just break it down very simplistically, if they're good or not, and then we're going to move on. Now, Elaine. Ghislaine, however you want to say her name. I don't know. I watched sub, I don't remember. But, Elaine, broken. For an unknown character, really fucking strong. She has a very strong Pierce card and a very decent rank 1 cancel. She counters everybody. Albedos, Yan, those are some meta characters right there. But, is she good? Yes. Is she broken? No. So, yeah, that pretty much sums up her kit. She doesn't do anything fancy. It's literally straightforward. She attacks and goes in. Next up, Roxy Megellda. She's an interesting one. A lot of people didn't like her when she came out because her shield isn't that strong. Her rank 1 shield, when the game starts, she puts the shield up, and if the shield survives for the turn, she gives the team 20% attack rate stats. Very good passive, but the shield wasn't strong enough. It's very inconsistent, so it's not reliable. But as a character, from what I've used when I did play her, even without her shield proccing for that attack stat, her Pierce AoE is nasty as hell. And her ult drain card is pretty strong with the buff. But without the buff, this Pierce card is crazy strong. Like, her base Pierce right now, for mine, is around 100%. That's pretty solid. But, like, I would say she's good. Not better than Elaine, but she's good. Now, moving on to the next one. Eris. People were a lot disappointed about her. They thought she was going to be a PvP unit. Turns out she's a heavy PvE unit. You can use her in PvP for her relics purpose, but not in today's meta. She's already outshined. She has no place in the PvP. Now in PvE, she has Original Demon that I run her with personally. I use her for all my Original Demon runs with Rudeus and Kazuna. And other than that, I mean, yeah, she can use her Crimson Demon if you really want to be fancy, but I don't think it's worth it. So yeah, that's her only purpose. She has a purpose though, so there's that. And then last but not least, Rudeus, the most underrated collab unit in the game. I thought Naofumi was underrated. Nah, the amount of people that try to downplay Rudeus as a character is insane. He is so good, but it's the whole thing. He takes more than 1 turn to start up his passive, so he's kind of mid. Nah, bro. Even turn 1, if you get your humans to proc his magic or passive, and you just use his main card, the Flood, with the magic attack thing on it, beautiful damage, higher than 200k without crit. It's nasty. So I honestly think he's the best character of the Mushoku Tensei collab, personally. So we're gonna see how that looks when we get there. And then over here, I'm gonna go ahead and put Rudeus in high A tier. I think Rudeus is better than the Freyas in like the grand scheme of things. Rudeus, Eris is definitely not better than any of them, but she works in tandem with Rudeus, but she is also not that strong. So I'll put her in probably C tier. No, I'll put her in B tier behind her because no, C tier. She only has 1 use, and that use isn't like mandatory. She's not the only character that can do what she does. So yeah, that makes a little bit more sense to me. I'll put her in C tier. Ghislaine, I'll put her in A tier along with the Freyas, probably in front of them, or like in between them actually. I think she's better than Green, but not better than Red, if that makes any sense. And the Roxy, I would probably put her in high B, because inconsistencies are a thing, and she has no true purpose outside of PvP. So yeah, I think that's fine. This is looking safe. Now moving on to my favorite catastrophe in the entire game, Camilla. We already know what she does. We don't even need to talk about it. She's useless. She has a knighthood passive. She's trash. Love the fit. Love it to death. But she's trash. So in terms of the categories, yeah, useless. Is she more useless than any of these characters? Probably Ludociel. I don't know. Is she more useful than Mono? Yeah, probably. There's some times where her weak shines and she can actually get some playtime in, but she's useless, bro. Those don't even happen anymore because LR Liz kind of took her spot. So next up we have Maeve Girl Zena. Now Me personally, I think she's underrated, one of those underrated units. And the reason why is because she's super strong. She has a passive that gives you ult gauge whenever she uses a buff skill. Her buff skill buffs your base attack by 30% at a rank 1. Like, that's nasty as hell. And then on top of that, she has an ult drain, which is pretty good. And then, to top it all off, when she gets ult, and by the way, she can get ult really fast on an unknown team with like Green Merlin in the back. Takes her 1 turn and she's good. Her fucking 2/6 ultimate gives you 110% defense related stats. Either you're getting hit for patience or they're not hitting you at all. It's strong. She's really fucking good, especially on like a Naofumi team, an Albedo team. She has use in the game. I stand by that. And truth be told, I think she would probably have more use than Roxy. But does that put her in A tier? I'll say no. She can get high B. I'm cool with this. And now we get to talk about our next festival character. In my opinion, one of the most funnest characters in the game. Sacred Treasure Bond. Look at this dude. He looks so cool. But yeah, we already know what he is. He is a god tier unit. After they buffed him, he skyrocketed. Yeah. With him being able to kill whoever he wants just as well as any other god tier unit, I think I can put him in the god tier category in front of Roxy. I think that's safe. Truly safe. Now we got ourselves a new Excalibur Arthur of the green variety. He's pretty good. Like, genuinely, I think he's actually performing better than Red Arthur. Even though Red Arthur gives you more HP just for existing with humans, he can have a little bit of flexibility on himself with the whole max HP thing. And on top of that, giving yourself crit defense for every debuff is pretty strong. And he's literally a direct counter to Light Bond. So if you have him on your team, even in the sub slot, because the other Arthur doesn't work in the sub, he works pretty well. I appreciate his kit. Now, his cards aren't the best thing ever. Depleting ult gauge is cool. The stance is always going to be broken. Every stance on an Excalibur Arthur is just nasty. And his ultimate is always mediocre. We don't care about the ultimate. But him as a character in his kit and in the current meta, he has a placement. He definitely does. And I think I could put him at the top of A. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I need to move Rudeus back a little bit. Because, he's not winning those Ragnarok teams, I'm going to be honest. So I'll put him at the back of A. The change of Rudeus, and Arthur be at the top of it because the human team be eating good. Now we got to talk about little Tristan. All right, little Tristan's goated. People look down on him because his passive was catered to demons and goddesses, but they targeted him as an unknown. Bro, he is so strong on the goddess backline, giving him 45% defense related stats. It's not even funny. The goddesses are super tanky with this kid on the team. The demons don't really benefit from him though. Like Zeldris, Cusack, Chandler, they all do something very much better in the sub slot than he does. So he has no purpose over there. But those goddesses be loving Tristan. Oh God, they do. And you know, his cards are cool. He has a stun, and then he has a solidify debuff card, you know, cool. But he does have a secret technique ultimate. That's pretty cool. I'll take it. Same as Lost Vein, so yeah. Now in terms of where I would put him is kind of iffy because Tristan pretty much shares the same role as Arthur, being the sub-slot support, and I put Arthur at the top of A tier. And I did that because the difference between these two characters is that Arthur can work in the front. He actually benefits on his team with his stance and debuff immunity. Tristan, on the other hand, doesn't benefit from being on the front line. So I think I can put Tristan somewhere in A tier, maybe behind the Ragnarok units. Or the unknown units in general, but I think he would be better than Rudeus because yeah, I can put Tristan in front of Rudeus, but behind. Actually, I can put him in front of Megellda too. I think that's fine, or that's fair, because Tristan just genuinely, he only has a use in PvP, and outside of that, he's just useless. And now we talk about the interesting baby daddy of Seven Deadly Sins. Yeah, this dude. Nah, I'm just playing. Let me put respect on his name. Tyr is the GOAT. We know what he does. We don't gotta send anything else on this man. Tyr is quite literally the most unfair character in the game for absolutely no reason. He's not even a festival character, bro. So, genuinely speaking, I would put Tyr somewhere in God tier. Is he better than Roxy? Kinda, yeah. Is he better than Bond? Kinda. Like, if he goes first, he kills Bond, but if Bond goes first, he kills him. They're kind of like interchangeable. So I'll put him behind Bond for now, just because he's not a festival character, and he wasn't meant to be that broken, in my opinion. I think they just did that on accident, and they just said, fuck it, we're gonna roll with it. But yeah, God's here, easy. He's not even, it's ridiculous. Now we got the DK himself. Yeah, Demon King. He doesn't have a name. But yeah, we already know what he does. We're very familiar if you've played at all in the past fucking 4 to 5 months. We know what he does, and it's annoying as fuck. Now, is he good anymore? Not a lot of people run him, but people do run him occasionally, and they do get the win because Tarmiel Link on him is just, he's invincible. He can't be killed if you give him Tarmiel Link. So it just kind of makes sense. And in a PvE standpoint, yeah, he pretty much clears whatever he wants. You can use him in Needhogger if you want to be really funny, but he's not good. But it's a possibility. You can do it. But I don't know. He kind of just went into irrelevancy. That's not because he's weak. It's because the Demon team kind of gets cucked at this moment in time. But he's still a pretty strong fucking unit on his own. And I think I can comfortably give him God tier without anyone being too upset about that, right? Like, I get it, he fell off, but he's still a fucking broken unit. And if you see him on the enemy team, you're just like, why? But I would say he's above Roxy, above Tier, above Bon. He's above pretty much all of these characters except for the new Liz. Because at the end of the day, you need 3 cards to kill him. And there's not a single combination except for probably Roxy that can kill. Okay, you know what? No. I'll put him behind Bon. Because, yeah, the Roxy passive with the Bond combo can kill Demon King turn 1 because the extra damage that Roxy does on her passive. So yeah, I can put him right there safely. I think that makes sense. Now, Summer Margaret, she only has 1 use, and she does it well. There's not a lot she can talk. There's not a lot you can say about Summer Margaret, like genuinely. Because she definitely does her one objective pretty damn good, which is Needhog. So I would probably put her in A tier, for sure. Where would I put her? Somewhere where Freya is. Is she better than Freya on that team? No, because at the end of the day, she's not the one doing the damage. She's doing the healing, and her damage card isn't that good unless you have her 6/6. So I would put her behind Red Freya at the very least, because yeah, Red Freya just contributes more to the Needhog team than she does at this point in time. But you know, you get it if you get it. All right, damn. Now next up, we have ourselves a Green Matrona. I like her personally. A lot of people didn't think she would have a genuine use in the game, but I still would say she's probably better than Red Matrona when it comes to Bird, and she's slightly better yet slightly worse than Deanne. I think that's what I said about her initially, and I still stand by it. Like, if you don't remember what she does, she pretty much gives you damage reduction for 2 turns, and then also just healing if you're debuffed. It's crazy. She's pretty good. 20% of your max HP healing is insane. She works out, and you're practically infinite healing, infinite HP. You won't lose if you put her on your Bird team. But for the most part, that's all she does. She doesn't have any genuine use outside of that, and it's kind of unfortunate. So yeah, I guess you know what that means, huh? She's going right up in C tier with the other 3, or other 2. Is she better than Eris? No, I think Eris has more of a purpose in terms of her content than Matrona, so I'll put her behind Eris. And now we're moving into our next collab, which is AOT. He came with 2 new units, a new Season 4 Levi and a Season 4 Aaron. Beautiful stuff, truly. And one of the most controversial collabs of Grandcross. These units are that good, but they're also really strong. They're just underrated as hell. Levi, beautiful staple on the human team. He has an infect. I think he's one of the only humans that have an infect that is actually meta. And he's just super strong. Debuff immune, and all that stuff. And on top of that, not only can be used in PvP, but you can also use him in Belmoth if you wanted to. My friend runs him in Belmoth, and he works really well. And, you know, you can use him in other stuff, demonic beast battles, if you really feel like playing around with your food. So, genuinely, he's a solid unit. I ain't got no problems with him. And then Aaron, who is the most controversial unit of all time, I would say he's good. I think he's perfectly fine, the way he works. Like, as long as there's a red unit on the team, he has a purpose. And there's a lot of red units running around these days. Tyr, Freyr sometimes. The Goddess team has Tarmiel, maybe. I don't know, but I was just making that shit up on my ass. But I think he's solid. And so in terms of meta, or how they stack up in like today. Aaron, I would probably give him a B tier. I think he would be better than nah. I think he's worse than Roxy, genuinely. I think Roxy, not in the 1v1 scenario, but just in terms of utility. Like, yeah, Aaron could probably one-shot Roxy, like 100% because she's a red unit. But if she's in the back, then how's that going to work, right? She's going to be in the back of a team if you're actually using her. And her passive is going to completely cuck Aaron completely. So, yeah, I think she's worse than Roxy, for sure. But Levi, I think he's A tier. Probably better than Freya. I would say he's better than Arthur as well, because Arthur is the staple for that team. But yeah, I think that's fine. Now, we did get a new Elaine, which was a surprise when she came out, but I think it was leaked, but whatever. Elaine is strong. She makes not Goddess, what the hell am I talking about? She makes Festival King, both of them super prevalent in the fairy team. But if you don't go first, they're useless. So, like, you better have some CC, because if you're not going first, she has no purpose. That being said, her only purpose is PvP. She's not good anywhere else. I mean, that's not entirely true. She's good for Grey Demon. I've seen people run her with Liz and Merlin, and it works pretty well, so I guess she has a use there. But that's about it in terms of today. You will never see her in PvP again until they make better fairy units. And when they do, best believe Elaine's going to be on that team, because she's practically a staple for fairy teams. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, but yeah, that's pretty much her. So for now, I can definitely give her somewhere in the B tier, probably on the higher spectrum, because the fairy's potential with her on the team is actually crazy. So I think I could put her in top of B, maybe low A, maybe. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put Elaine in top of, or low A, and Rudeus can be bottom or top B, if that makes sense. Okay. Now we moving on to Hell. Yeah, fuck Hell. She's super annoying to go against in games, so I guess that means she does her job pretty well. If you don't know what she does, yeah, if you attack her team, you just die. All your HP is gone by the time it's her turn, and she can just wipe you. It's super easy and super simple for this chick. That's why I like her so much. She's really good. She's unfair. She's unfair. So I think it's safe to say I can easily put her in God tier. Like, honest to God, she's God tier. Is she better than tier? It's possible. Is she better than a Demon King? Yes. She's not better than Bond. I'll put her in front of the Demon King. I think that's fair. I have a lot of people in God tier, and I'm sorry, that's just how this game works. It is. Mael could get up there, but he just sucks by himself. He doesn't do anything by himself. Now, when we talk about fun units, this new Truth Seeker Merlin is so fun. She's really strong too. It's actually kind of fun in a weird way. Now, if you don't know what she does, because not a lot of people really summoned on her, and the videos I uploaded anyway didn't get a lot of traction, so I assume no one truly cared about this character. But to make it simple, she's a buffs unknown stats. Obviously, every unknown character does that. And if there's a full unknown team, she gets a rank up. And guess what card she has? Pierce. A rank 2 Pierce is nasty. And her debuff, or AoE card, becomes a debuff at level 2. You can only use single target skills. It's so good. She counters so many people. Like, it's so crazy how good she is. And no one uses it. So I can probably put this Merlin at the top of A tier. If not A tier, she can probably squeeze into S tier, because she's genuinely one of those type of units that people just slept on. But I'll put her top of A for now. That makes me feel a little bit more comfortable with that decision. And that's about how that's going to go. And now we have our last collab of the year, which was Overlord. I still haven't watched the anime, but this collab was a dub and a half, if I do say so myself. I enjoy all of these characters, except for you. You're useless. Let's just get that out of the way now. Cocytus, useless as hell. Shaltir, pretty strong. I like her a lot. She's good when you put her on certain teams. Albedo, broken. This character shouldn't exist. She's nuts. And then Ainz is a pretty good unit if you have him duped out. If you don't have him duped out, he sucks. So in terms of Ainz, I guess I'll just rate him as somewhere in the middle, like 1, 2, 6, 3, 6. And if you have him 3, 6, it's pretty strong, I guess. But I would say Ainz can go in A tier. Irons can, yeah, definitely go in A tier. He's not better than the Merlin, I'm gonna be honest. Probably better than the Ragnarok units, the unknown units. Is he better than humans? Not exactly. I'll put him behind Arthur. I'll put him in front of Arthur. In front of Arthur's fine. Cocytus, useless. He's not. I'm not even gonna waste my time talking about him. Albedo is broken. God tier. She probably kills everyone on this list except for Liz. So yeah, second best character of this year easily. And Shell tier, I could put her high A. Probably in front of Merlin, I think is good for her. And yeah. So what I'm gonna do now is just go ahead and get these two characters out the way because yeah. Hawk Oslo, useless. He does nothing. You know, he's interesting at the very least. His passive gives you 50% defense related stats on all your allies. Or defense, not defense related stats. 50% defense. So yeah, that's cute, but like it doesn't do anything for nobody. And then Ellate is a viable sub unit for goddesses. Is she better than Tristan? Not exactly. So I'd probably give her somewhere in the B tier. And probably in front of Roxy? Nah. I'll put her in front of this Roxy. I think that's fine. So yeah, this is my tier. Whoa. You go back up there, young lady. Or behind her. Sure. No, in front of you. Okay, this is my tier list. For the units that came out this year. In God tier, we have Liz, Albedo, Purgatory Meliodas, Bond, Hell, Demon King tier, Roxy. S tier, the only S tier character, in my opinion, I guess, is Mael. He could be God tier. He can be. But he just relies too much on his team. And then our A tier category is pretty solid. Most of the Overlord characters. And then, you know, Ragnarok units, some Demonic Beast units because they're staples in the game and stuff like that. They pretty much made themselves known and present. And then the rest of the people. So yeah, we see this. I'll probably put it on the screen. Maybe if I don't, well, you can see it here. So yeah, this is my tier list for every unit that came out in 2023. So be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below how y'all feel about my placements, who y'all would put somewhere else, and we can have a conversation about that. But until then, that's going to be the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and we gonna see y'all in the next one. Peace and have a wonderful day.